Another belief is a lie or a myth is that genius is born. So many people feel that you're just born a genius or someone's just born to be good at something. And it's not true. Genius is not born as much as genius is built through dedication, through learning, through training, through study and deep work, discipline, all of that.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new podcast episode. This is Carolina Millan, your host, and I'm very excited today. I have a special guest. He's one of the top brain coaches in the world, if not the top brain coach. He's also the author of the book Limitless. I'm here with Mr. Jim Kwik. How are you, Jim?
I'm so fantastic. Thank you for having me. And thank you, everybody who's tuning in for this on how to improve your brain power conversation.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this because I feel like I need this for myself too. So let's start with a little bit of background. I know you have a very fascinating story. So for the very few people that may be watching or listening who don't know you yet, can you share what happened to you that, was this kind of turning point in your life and that took
Sure.
you to where you are today?
Yes, my inspiration was my desperation, you could say. When we met at an event, and you and I, and at events, if there's time, I'll do these demonstrations where I'll memorize like 100 people's names in an audience
I've seen
or
it.
something like that, and people could see stuff like that on YouTube. But I always tell people I don't do this to impress you. I do this to express to you what's possible, because the truth is, every single person who's watching, listening to this today, they could do that too, regardless of your age and your background, your career, education, financial situation, gender, history, IQ. We could all improve and have incredible focus, read faster, improve our memory, think more clearly, and have the brain we desire and really deserve. The reason why I know it's possible is because I grew up with learning difficulties. When I was 5 years old, I had a bad accident where I hit my head. I had a traumatic brain injury, and I had issues learning. I had very poor focus, very poor memory. They called it processing issues, where teachers would repeat themselves over and over and over again. And I would learn to pretend to understand, but I didn't understand anything. It took me 3 years longer to learn how to read. When I was 9 years old, I was slowing down a class and I was being teased and bullied, made fun of a lot. And because I was slowing down the class and a teacher came to my defense, she pointed to me in front of the whole class and said, "Leave that kid alone. That's the boy with the broken brain." And you could say that that label became my limit. That was where every single time I did badly in school, I would say to myself, "Oh, because I have the broken brain." And so I struggled all through school for, until age 18, when I learned some strategies where I put it in the book on how to have a better brain, how to learn faster. And I think these are the two most important things to do for yourself today. If you're under stress, if you're overloaded, if you're distracted, if you're forgetful, if you doubt yourself, one of the best things you could do is take care of your brain. And I show people how to do that, but then also learn better, because that gives you confidence. When you could easily remember client information or product information, give speeches without notes with confidence, remember people's names and faces, when you could read 2 or 3 times faster and understand what you read, you just have an incredible advantage in school, in work, and in life. So I think it's the most important skill. When people read my book, Limitless Expanded, they could read all other books easier. They could remember all other books easier. They could focus and concentrate when they need to. And they could have a sense of, purpose, where you don't have a lot of the fears or the self-doubt, where you question yourself or you procrastinate or self-sabotage. And so I've been doing this now for 32 years. I am 50 years old. Been doing it a long time. And I travel around the world. We have students. We have the largest online academy for accelerated learning in the world. students in every country on the globe, and very proud. And so
No,
people
yeah.
experience our work through those courses. We also have a podcast as well. That's always one of the top education shows in the world. And as you mentioned, Limitless, it was the #1 nonfiction book for 6 straight days in the whole on the whole planet. And so we're very proud of this work, and we just love building better, brighter brains. Yes,
Yeah,
that
no,
book.
it's
I like your bookmark.
yeah, I put this little this little heart here. So you have an updated version of this book coming up.
Yes.
I got a review copy. I didn't, unfortunately, it's really long. I didn't get
Yeah, no,
to
it's
read it.
really, it is long.
It is long. So can you share with
There's a
us,
lot.
like, what can people expect? And also, I'd love to know what's your favorite chapter of the book and why.
Yeah, so this book, we updated it and added well over 100 new pages of useful techniques and tools and resources. And it was really, the purpose was, well, the inspiration was we had our first baby. We had our son, and I really want the world, the next generation, to be prepared. Probably my favorite is on these brain types. We've discovered that there are 4 different cognitive types, 4 different ways people learn, 4 main ways that people think and do everything in their life. And we call it brain code, CODE. And these are the animals. And I'm
I
curious which one you think you
I
are
took the
too.
test, actually. I took the test.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got a dolphin. So I would love
Yes.
for you to please, like, first explain like the 4 types so people
Yeah.
can listen, and then maybe you can give me some advice for me as a dolphin.
Yeah, absolutely. So cheetahs they implement. So code CODE, this is what stands for the animals. The C in code stands for cheetah.
Got it.
And these are people who are fast implementers. They apply things, they move quickly, they adapt, they have strong intuition, right? So, but they love to learn something and then do it. Meanwhile, the owls are very analytical. They're very methodical. They like to dissect information and ponder it, research it. They want to analyze information. They love the facts and figures, formulas. So they're very logical. Dolphins, as you are visionary thinkers. They are very creative. They sometimes could see a future where other people can't see it yet, for themselves and maybe even for the world. They are often entrepreneurs. They're often creatives, big dreamers also as well. And, I believe the future belongs to the creatives, but they are very big sky thinkers. And then finally, the E in code are your elephants. And your elephants are very empathetic. They feel what other people feel. They have high levels of compassion. They are very collaborative souls. So they're the glue that holds teams together. And, when they leverage these strengths, they encourage collaboration, open communication, and so much more. So people could take this quiz. It's free. It's at
Yeah.
mybrainanimal.com. So you go mybrainanimal.com. It takes about 4 minutes for most people.
Yeah,
It's
it's
multiple
quick.
choice. Yeah, very
Pun
quick. And you get a
intended.
detail.
What are some of the myths around the brain that you see
Yeah.
are propagated the most, and what's the truth behind them?
Yeah, we could go through just maybe a few of them. It's like so I call these lies, LIE. It's a limited idea people entertain, limited idea entertained.
I like
And they're
it.
not true, but I realized that there are a lot of strategies in Limitless that could help people learn and be mental geniuses, right? More of their genius. And sometimes people know what to do, but they don't do the things that they know. People know what they could do to be healthy or to make more money, but sometimes they procrastinate or they sabotage.
I can relate.
Yes. And I think it's a human condition. So we have to address first our mindset before we get to the methods. And the mindset are the set of assumptions and attitudes we have about something. Because if people at events, people know that I'm a memory expert, and they'll come to me before I go on stage and they say, I'm so glad you're here. I have a horrible memory. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough, whatever, right? And I always say, stop. If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So many of us, we argue for our limits, and then they're ours to keep. Just like when I was a child, every single time I did badly in school, I would say, oh, because I have the broken brain. And that label became like my limitation. And so we have to help people unlimit these lies or these myths. So one of them is, for example, that gets in the way of our learning our life, is that mistakes are failures. A lot of people believe that when they make a mistake that they failed. And it's just not true. That people think that success is the opposite of failure, when failure really is part of success. Another belief is, a lie or a myth is that genius is born. So many people feel that you're just born a genius, or someone's just born to be good at something. And it's just not true. Genius is not born as much as genius is built through dedication, through learning, through training, through study and deep work, discipline, all of that. And the reason why people shouldn't buy into genius is born is because then it's either you have it or you don't. And that's just not true. Anybody could get better at anything when they learn how to learn something better. What we teach, anybody can learn how to, because if you could focus, if you can learn better, like you could focus, you could read better, you could understand more, you can remember everything, thing that you want to remember. You can apply that to everything. Gets easier. Doesn't matter your career, medicine or money. Maybe you're a martial arts student or music, Mandarin. Everything gets so much easier when you can learn how to learn. So I believe that genius is not born as much as genius is built, and that's a big one. And I'm here to say that your greatest gift, all of us, is this brain. And it's the thing that doesn't come with an instruction manual. People you don't have like a manual on how to use it better. But that's why I wrote this book for people. It's an easy way to understand this genius that we all have, that it's not how smart you are, it's how are you smart. It's not how smart you are, it's how are you smart. And everybody is smart in different ways. And I think that's very important, because another limiting belief that people have, or myth, is that intelligence is fixed. They think it's like your memory, for instance, it's fixed like your shoe size. Like your shoe size doesn't grow, much, at all when you're an adult. And people think that their memory, their mind is the same way, and it's absolutely not true.
Like you have a certain amount of gigabytes and that's it.
Right. It's not. It's more like your brain is more like a muscle, but it's use it or lose it. And so we actually some people think they only use 10% of their brain, but the truth, which is another lie, the truth is we use all of our brain. So some people use it better than others. It's just like everybody uses, whatever body parts they have, right? Every part of their body. But some people are just fitter. They're stronger. Their bodies are better trained and they're healthier. Well, our brains can be stronger. Our brains can be healthier. Our brains can be fitter also, and quicker also as well. And so it's so important, whether everyone wants more mental intelligence, and that's wonderful. But mental health is also very important, and so is mental fitness. And so that's what we get, is people more mentally fit.
I love that. What are some tips that you can provide in order to keep, or to gain that mental fitness that people could do relatively quickly?
So we know that about 1/3 of your brain's potential is predetermined by genetics or your biology, but 2/3 is in your control. So there are 10 things that could help you in that lifestyle, those 2/3, to make things better. And so I'll go through them quickly.
Yeah.
And what I ask is, people who are listening to us, they just take out a piece of paper. We'll turn this into a little class.
Let's do that.
And take notes. And when I go through all 10, for each one, you rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. How much energy and effort, time are you putting towards, each one? because everybody wants to know what's the one thing they could do to make money, or the one thing they could do to have 100,000 followers, or the one thing they could do to, you know, meet the love of their life and be happily ever after, or to be a genius. But there's
Yeah.
not just one thing, right? There's multiple things. So I'm going to give you 10 things, and you can rate 0 to 10. And so in no order, let's say the first one is good brain diet. Good brain diet. What you eat matters, especially for your gray matter, your brain. And so some of the most powerful foods for the brain, and everybody's different. You could go to a nutritionist and have your microbiome tested, and do a nutrient profile with your blood. At any doctor could provide that. So everyone, and some people are allergic to some of these foods. So, make sure you do it intelligently. But the ones that are researched that are good for your brain, avocados are very good for the brain, the monounsaturated fat. Blueberries, all the berries are very neuroprotective. I like to call them brain berries. They're good for your brain. Broccoli is good for the brain. Olive oil is good for the brain. Eggs are very good for the brain. The choline in eggs is good for brain health. Green leafy vegetables like kale and spinach. Certain fishes, because your brain is mostly fat, so the fatty fishes like sardines or salmon, good for the brain. Turmeric, if you use turmeric when you cook, that golden powder helps to lower inflammation in your brain and your body. Nuts like almonds and walnuts are good for the brain, high in vitamin E, which is very brain protective. Dark chocolate is good for the brain, also as well in moderation. Not milk chocolate, but dark chocolate is good.
Yeah.
So those are just like, so, but on the other side, processed foods, not so good. Lots of, ingredients that you can't say the words
If you
on
cannot
the
pronounce
box.
it, don't eat it.
Yes, exactly that. So, though that's so very important. High sugar sometimes could be very not so good for our body, and our brain is part of our body. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how good is your brain diet, right? Number 2, reducing negative thoughts is good for your brain. We talked about this a little bit, but sometimes people don't realize how powerful the words, their language, when they talk to themselves or others, it has on us, right? Just like when this teacher called me broken, I was like, wow. Then I started calling myself broken, and then it became my reality. It's kind of like your brain is this like supercomputer, and your self-talk is a program it will run. So if you tell yourself you're not good at remembering people's names, you won't remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how powerful and positive and encouraging are your own thoughts?
I'm
And
answering
even
too,
if,
by the way.
yeah. So then, like, and even if you find yourself saying something like, I don't have a great memory, you could know that, you could recognize that your thought, and then you could change it. Say, I don't have a great memory yet, right? It just opens up the possibility. If people truly understood how powerful their mind is, they wouldn't say or think something they didn't want to be true. So you want to keep it as encouraging and productive, beneficial for you as possible. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how positive and encouraging are your thoughts? Because when we beat ourselves up, it's like complaining. It doesn't get anything done, and wastes a lot of time and energy, and nothing changes. And your mind is always eavesdropping on your self-talk. Your mind's always eavesdropping. It's always listening. So I would, rate yourself 0 to 10.
I wanted to ask you one last thing about, because you use the physical body a lot when it comes to improving memory. Like when I saw you speak at VCon, you were like, okay, put your hand here and then touch here and touch here.
Yeah,
Does involving our physical body help
it
anchor?
does.
Yeah?
Yeah, they say there's a proverb that says, what you hear, you forget. What you see, you remember. What you do, you understand. And just like names and faces, you hear a name, you forget the name. You see the face, you remember the face. What you do through practice, with practice, makes progress. And so I believe when you could hear something, see it, and feel it, you're more likely to learn it. And so my teachings and my trainings, even the ones we have online, they're very different, because I don't lecture. I want to make it more experiential for people. And one of the best ways of doing it is get them up and moving their bodies a little bit. So even in our online classes, we start off every single one with them standing and doing specific motions that have been shown to improve your brain power. Yeah.